Hi everybody, it is Kelly with Kelly Richmond Scrapbooking. I'm a creative memories advisor and I am going to show you how to make this fun sketch. I'm sure you've seen this design all over Facebook. If not, you've got to check it out. It is super fun. I've done this layout a couple times. So I just wanted to show you how to make it because it looks super complicated, but it's really not. It is a little bit fussy, but it's creates this beautiful layout. Okay, so we're going to do this layout today from the blog sketch. It's from March 9th. So it's just a couple weeks ago that this came out. And I am going to be using, I just have 3 photos that I'm going to put on my page. And I am going to be using up just the few little scrap pieces that I have left from the Totally Tonal Island Waters paper pack. I just have a few left, so I'm going to try and use those up on this layout. I'm also, so here's that paper. That's the Island Waters cardstock. I'm also going to use just a few pieces, this really pretty yellow and this really pretty pink, pale pink and pale yellow paper. And both of these are from the Botanical Burst paper pack. So I'm going to use that. And I'm not sure how I got the glue on it, but we won't use that piece. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to first start with your base. According to the directions, I'm going to set this stuff aside. We're going to use one piece as your base. I'm going to use this piece right here as my base paper. And we're also going to cut this piece right here is just a 2 by 12 inch strip. And I already have this piece. This happened to be 2 inches already for my scraps. So I think we're just going to go ahead and use that piece right there. It gives us some nice little contrast. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to be using our decorative trimmer. Now my decorative trimmer is really old, but the new updated one looks is a different color. It's prettier. Mine's pretty old, but you know what? It still works great, and it's very similar, if not exactly the same as the current decorative trimmer with Creative Memories. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be cutting these little wavy edges that we're going to put in between our little paper. Okay, and we have to cut 6 of them, and we're going to cut them an eighth of an inch. So really tiny. Okay, so but first we need to get that wave started. So I'm going to slide my white cardstock in here and line it up. And as you can see, I'm not lining it up at the top or the bottom, because if I did, then the little wave part isn't going to be completely centered, and I want it centered so that I can get the best cut out of the little pieces that I go inside. Okay, so I'm just gonna start out and cut this first piece. I like to go over it just because my trimmer is a little bit older, and so I want to make sure I get that cut really well. And look, still I didn't. So I'm just going to take my scissors real quick and kind of release that paper. I'm sure if I hadn't the new trimmer, maybe that's what I need to do, is invest in a new trimmer. It would probably do better. Or maybe I need a new blade. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is, so I want to cut a little swell at an 1/8 of an inch. Now, in order to do an 1/8 of an inch, each of these little squares is a 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to line my paper up just barely at the halfway in between one of those little squares. Okay, so I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to just barely line it up, and it's going to be pretty thin. That's exactly what I want. See if I put a little bit more pressure on it, I can get a good cut this time. Oh yeah, much better this time. All right, so there's one. And I'm just going to do that again 6 times till I have 6 of those little wavy pieces. Gonna make sure it's lined up as best as I can. Oh, I missed a piece. Okay. Now that one I think I got too thin, so I might redo that one. And I missed a spot. Yep, that one's a little bit too thin. So let me try that one again. Okay, there's piece number 2. Gonna slide it over just a tiny bit. That's too much up here. Okay. Once again, I'm missing just a few little spots. Just probably not giving it quite enough pressure, but we'll just take our micro tip scissors here. These are probably my favorite scissors because they're just small and super sharp, so you can get those little pieces. Okay. I know I probably should have done some of this ahead of time, but I wanted to show you. Okay, that one I think I got good. Yep. Okay, that's 4. Okay, I'm going to move it over again, just 1/8 of an inch. Make sure I'm lined up on the top and the bottom. And cut. That one spot right up here in this little curve is where I must not put enough pressure, because every single time I'm not getting it. Yep, gotta take out my scissors again. Like I said, my trimmer is old and I probably need to update it. I've had this thing for many years, but it still works most of the time. So for what I need, the nice thing is the blades. If you do have one of these older trimmers like I do, the blades, you can buy new blades for it. And the blades are the same for the decorative trimmer that Creative Memory sells now. It's exactly the same, so I can buy new blades and still be able to use my trimmer. All right, let's see how many we have. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's all 6. All right, so we're done with our white cardstock. Now what we're gonna do is we want to create the little shapes of paper that go on the inside. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to take our decorative paper. I'm going to start with this yellow piece. And we're going to do the same thing. You're going to load it in here to start out this little, this wavy part. Yeah, definitely need a new blade because it's shredding my paper. And so once you've got that, we're going to flip it over and turn it the other way. And we're going to load it in again because we want to create that little hourglass shape in here. And what we're going to do is we want to line this part right here so that when I close my trimmer, it's just barely going to cut to keep it together. So I'm going to kind of line it up as best as I can. So that I create this little hourglass shape like this, okay? Let me check really quick. To see if I have another blade. Hold on one second. I don't. So we're just going to have to deal with what we have for now. Okay, so I'm just going to cut one of those of each colors of paper that I have. Okay, so now I'm going to do the pink. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line my paper up just with this very first line, just to cut a little bit off just to get the shape going. And I'm going to save these pieces because you never know. These make a great edge of a border. So I'm going to keep that and put it back in with the Botanical Burst collection. Okay, remember I'm going to flip my paper over, line it up so it's just barely touching the edge so I can get that really thin hourglass shape. Okay, and that's paper number 2. All right, now like I said, I only have scraps on these ones, so I'm probably going to make 2 cuts just to make sure that I get at least 4 of these shapes out of this heart paper right here. Flip it around, put it back in, make sure it's lined up. Yeah, so these 2 pieces down here at the bottom, I'm not going to be able to use because we cut into it. But these 2 pieces right here, so I'm just going to trim this because I don't need that part. Those 2 I'm going to use, but I still want 2 more. So I'm just going to take my paper again, flip it over one more time. Now my shape is going to be a little bit different, but same thing. I just barely in this little downward part of the wave, I'm going to line it up so it just barely cuts it to keep that hourglass shape. Okay, so there's my 4 of this color. The dots are really cute on the back, so there is a possibility I might use that. So I'm going to set it aside just in case I want to use that. I love this one, so I'm going to cut a little bit out of this one. Like I said, these are just scraps that I have left over from this collection. So I'm glad I kept them just for this very purpose, because this layout is perfect for using up all your little scraps. Okay, flip this over. Line my paper up as best as I can. Whoops. Wow, I really messed that up, huh? Okay. All right. There's number 4. I really, really like this dot paper. So we'll use this one, and this piece is probably just perfect enough for this little piece that I'm going to do. Set it back in there. Get it lined up. It's a little bit too far. Okay, that's good. All right. And the last piece that I want to use is this one. Same thing, I've already cut some circles out of it. I'm glad I kept it though, just because there's still a significant amount down here. So I'm going to just trim it just like I did the other one, and just have to go 2 passes on it in order to get the 4 little hourglass pieces that I want. And I'm going to actually just trim this extra off. I'm going to put it up here. That way I know that it's somewhat straight. Okay, so there's 2 of them. Flip it back around, put it back in down here. And we'll try and work with what we have here and see if that. Okay, so now we have all our pieces. I'm going to set this aside. What we're going to do is we're going to cut all of these pieces apart so that we have just these little pieces that look like this, okay? And I'm going to try and keep them together in the right pile. We're just going to trim them apart. And you want to keep these little funny pieces at the end, because there is a place that that I could possibly use them. So we'll keep it. Trim all of those. This one I might have done a little bit too thin, but we'll make it work. Okay, almost done. And then we're gonna, the magic's gonna start happening, putting it together. Okay, all right. So we're gonna start with these, with our little wave pieces first, but before that, I'm going to first adhere this down. Use a little tape runner for that. Line it up right here on the edge. And then I'm going to take all of these little pieces here that I have, and I'm going to turn them upside down. I know they're upside down because I actually used one of the cardstock the inserts. No, they're not the insert. It's the paper that comes with your paper pack. It used to be cardstock, and so I would keep all of those little cardstock pieces because it's white cardstock, and I would use the one side, and I still have tons of that. So That's what we're using. And I'm just gonna line them up like this and put a little repositionable tape on it. And I'm just bundling them up so that I'm not wasting any of my repositionable tape. So we're just gonna go through and, whoops, got it out of the way. Put that on there. Make sure we got lots on the ends. Okay, now I'm gonna just kind of move that over to the side, and I'm gonna just start with one piece. And we're going to line it up. You're gonna put it over the edge here, and you just wanna make sure that your white part, because you wanna make sure that you're not going into this. So I'm just gonna barely line that, the wave here at the bottom, right on the edge, just like that. Press it down, and then we're just gonna fill in our little spots of where we think, you know, just kind of a dry fit at first, and make sure that we like it. I don't want to put one here yet of that paper because it's going to just blend in. That one would be a little bit better. And then let's do this really light one. Okay. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put it down now that I kind of like this design, and I'm going to try and kind of tuck it under if I can. Oh. And you're just going to put it right up against that edge so that it's matching that wave. Okay, and then you're going to grab another one, flip it over, and if you notice, it doesn't match, but if you turn it this way, it's going to go perfectly. And I set it on top of the paper, right along the edge, and try as best as I can to get these center pieces to kind of touch if I can. Okay, I'm not going to worry about this hanging over the edge yet because we'll just go through and trim it. Okay, and then we're just going to do the same thing again. We're just going to start filling in where we think it's going to look the best. Let's see, I kind of like to go in a pattern. So if I've done that one, if I do this yellow here, do that there. We could do, I don't want to do a heart up there. Let's see. If we do another heart piece down here. And then let's repeat whichever one is down here. We'll repeat it just in this little tiny piece up here, which means we need a little tiny pink down here. Okay, that looks good. Same thing, we're just going to add a little bit of adhesive here. If it doesn't quite seem like it's fitting, or you need a little bit more at the top or the bottom, then you can flip it. I think that works great. Whoops. I'll flip that one over so I can get that little piece that's sticking out right there. So there we go. And you're just gonna work your way all the way across. Putting this down right along the edge. Okay, pressing it down nicely. See, it's starting to look really, really good. Now, since I've started down here, I'm gonna do another pink up here. And I may have to cut just another few more pieces, possibly. You know what? I'm gonna wait on that piece. I'll do this one that has the little tails attached to it. Okay, do our next one. Gotta flip it so it matches. Okay. Oh, it's starting to look good. All right, so if I start yellow here, then I'm gonna have kind of a pattern and I wanna get off of that. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and start. Oh, look, this will work perfect because I've got this little piece of green. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the green. And that will work perfectly in this little spot right here. Yeah. See, I told you we needed to save those little pieces. That is the reason why. I gotta remember that's there. Okay, and then we've got this. Okay, so see how I've got this little piece right up here? I'm gonna trim it because I think this piece might fit right down here. And I'd rather save my whole piece for possibly using it for another piece. I think it'll work. Let's try it. I'm gonna just kind of tuck it in so we can utilize more of the piece. Okay. Flip it around. Yeah, so this is, I might have to trim that one down there so it will work, but I think it's gonna work great. Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna kind of fill in where I think we need, like there needs to be a yellow right here because we've got two yellow here. So let's put a yellow here. We've got dot pretty well in the areas that we want. So I'm gonna put this one up, maybe up here. Let's see. This piece might work great here. And let's do this piece. So as you can see, I've got a few pieces left over, but I think that's going to work great. And I could, if I wanted to, use the back sides, since the coordinating paper on the back would work great too. So I just did, you know, what I thought would work all good together. But like I said, this is a great way to kind of use up your scraps from whatever paper packs you have. All right, here's the last one. We're gonna just get that on there. Get it lined up right. All right, so we do, like I said, we have a few extra pieces, that's okay. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip this over and I'm gonna just trim this up. That way it looks nice and flush so that I can slide my page protector on it. Do the same to this side. All right, look how pretty it looks. Okay, there we go. And then all I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna cut my mats and my pictures. I'm gonna actually trim this photo down just a little bit. I'm just taking 1/4 of an inch off of the top. Like I said, I like to not waste paper, so I like to use 6x4 mats. So I just trim just 1/4 of an inch off each side of my 4x6 or 6x4 photos. These two I'm going to trim to 4x4. Actually, I'm going to trim it to 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 so I can use a 4x4 mat. And then same with this one. Okay. Move this out of the way. Move my scraps. Okay, I'm gonna mat these because I really want to mat them in the island waters, and I'm just gonna quickly go through my scraps to see if I have the right sizes of scraps that I need for my mats, which I think I do. Let's try it out. So I put my paper, my cardstock in the sleeves, and I always put my scraps in the back. And I always try and go to my scraps first before I cut paper. That way I'm not using a full sheet and I'm using up my scraps. All right, cross your fingers if this is big enough. Feels like there's 2. Yep. Yes. Look at that. All right. Move that out of the way. I can mat my photos now. All right. I'm gonna move this one up just a tad bit because I don't want to overlap that one. Just want to overlap this one. All right, so now all I need is my embellishments, which I think I'm gonna use this right here. I'm gonna cover that star, but I'm gonna put a little pop dot on it. Foam square, pop it up just a little bit. Gonna put a little title, do what you love. And I think we're done. Okay, there we go. Super fun. Like I said, this is perfect for scraps. You can take lots of different scraps from a collection, you know, the colors that are gonna go, pull out some of the colors that are in your pictures. That's why I did some of the pinks. And there you go. It works out great. And like I said, you can use this mostly with just your scraps. So it's a great way to use up your scraps. Super fun technique. I hope you try it out. This little handout is going to be on my Facebook page, in my Scrapping with Kelly or Scrap Happy with Kelly group. So you can go there and find this with the instructions. I've just put it together on a handout so that you can print your handout, put it in your idea binder, and that way you can do this layout over and over and over. So hope you guys have a good time. Hope you try it out. If you do, make sure you post a picture because we'd love to see your version of this layout as well. So happy scrapping. Talk to you guys later. Bye.